Do you feel like no matter what you do, you can't seem to improve in tournaments or just in general? In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the best tips and strategies that I've used and seen pros use to break that skill ceiling, holding you back from your true potential. If you enjoy, make sure to hit that like and sub to support me. The first thing that's keeping you from improving is the creative maps you play and the way you spend your time. If you spend more than an hour playing maps like Martaz Turtle Fights, Zone Wars, or 1v1s, you're wasting so much time. And don't get me wrong, these maps are good to warm up in, and if you just started, they're really good to make you improve fast. But odds are, if you have more than a couple hundred hours or around the 500 PR mark, playing these maps are such a huge waste of time. And let me tell you why. First of all the people you play against on these maps aren't good at all. And even if you get lucky and find someone good or better than you, they aren't playing the same playstyle that they would in a tournament. Most people playing these maps play like they're on autopilot, whether that's hopping in or taking bad peeks because they're not afraid of dying. This might even be you after a couple minutes in creative, and that's the problem with it. The average player now plays so much creative that they just tend to drone out and play like a robot. Instead of brainlessly playing these maps, I would recommend playing each of these three for about 20 minutes each, just to warm up, and the rest you should just be playing scrims. If you only have limited hours on the game each day, then playing creative should be the last thing on your mind. And if you have a bunch of free time, then you shouldn't just keep playing scrims and try playing tokens, because you will play better players and you have to try your hardest and keep focused the entire time, since there's actually something on the line. Unlike most creative maps where we're all comfortable with dying and just don't care at all. The second big thing that's keeping so many of you from improving is coping. What I mean by this is a lot of you like to complain about the things you can't control, like ping, setup, or even things in game like zone pools. Even though these things might all be true and can objectively make you play worse, you can't change any of them, so complaining about it or saying that that's the only reason you die is useless. Plus, there's always a way of combating these disadvantages. For example, if you play on high ping, just watch high ping pros like Aviv and Sharkman and try to play less like a fragger and more of a IGL. Another example, instead of complaining about zone pools, you should instead be VOD reviewing and looking where you could have positioned yourself better to prepare for any zone pool. Coping will just trick your brain into thinking that you can improve when really there's always another option. Could you imagine if Peterbot stopped playing because he was a high ping console player instead of just grinding it out until he saved up for a PC and got so many earnings he could live in Texas? So many of you could be 100 times better if you just stopped coping and fought through the solutions. My third tip, and this one is very important, is the people that you surround yourself with. So many of my subscribers want to get better, but they surround themselves with the most casual players who at best play ranked and sit all day in creative. Or they play with people who don't care about improving at all, think it's a joke, or it's a waste of time. And it's usually their IRLs. I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. If you have any friends that don't care about improving as much as you, then you need to stop playing with them. And I don't mean stop being friends with them. I mean you can't be playing the game with them, because anyone who isn't grinding as much as you is just going to hold you back. Instead, you should be joining servers with people with the same mindset as you, not only because that will keep you on the right path, but because they can also help you and keep you up with the meta. If you guys are looking for a competitive server with active people who grind every day, it can be hard, but just keep trying, you will find one. I actually have one like that myself, and if you're interested in joining, just leave your Discord in the comments and I'll add you to it. The fourth tip revolves around complacency, which is one of the most subtle yet dangerous traps anyone can fall into, especially in competitive. Complacency occurs when you become comfortable with where you are, accepting mediocrity instead of striving for excellence. The mindset of thinking I'm good enough or I don't need to improve anymore, becoming too satisfied with your current skill level, can halt your growth and prevent you from reaching your full potential. The key to overcoming complacency is setting goals. However, where many people go wrong is setting vague or overly broad goals like I want to get better. While the intention is good, this kind of goal is hard to measure since this goal is not very graspable. That's why micro goals are the best. These are small, specific, and achievable targets that you can work towards every single day, every tournament, or every month. For example, this could be trying to get more points than your last solo cash cup, or even just getting a higher placement in your last scrim. And all of these goals come one by one, and they're very attainable day by day. Micro goals will keep you on the right track because they give you a clear direction and sense of accomplishment. Each small win builds momentum and confidence, making the larger goal of getting better feel way more attainable. Now I'm going to give you guys like 4 micro tips to avoid being complacent. Number 1 is to track your progress. Keep a journal or log of your performance, record your stats, review your gameplay, and note areas that you have to improve on or need work. Number 2 is going to be to challenge yourself and to step out your comfort zone. In almost any sector of life, people who step out their comfort zone are the people who thrive and end up being the most successful because they're used to being in situations that they're not comfortable with. And that'll get you ready for situations and tournaments that you aren't used to. We've all been in that situation in a tournament where you just literally have no idea what to do because it was such an awkward situation and you would never be in that situation in creative. That's why scrims is so important. Number 3 is to stay hungry. Remind yourself why you started and what you're working towards, and do not let any success keep you from grinding. Just because you did good in one tournament doesn't mean you can't do even better the next one. I've seen this play out with my own life and with my friends. Some of my friends play casually without any real direction, and as a result, they haven't improved much over time. On the other hand, I have friends who set goals for everything they do, whether that's improving their mechanics, laying out new strategies, or analyzing their gameplay to identify weaknesses. And I'm telling you, my friends that have improved at a rapid pace are obsessed with micro goals. That's how you avoid being mid. But yeah, that one is very important for a lot of you guys. Really quick, before we get into the last tip, if you guys enjoyed the video so far and want to support me even more, consider using code RATHFN in the item shop. And yeah, that's it. For the 5th tip is VOD reviewing, but I know you guys have heard this a lot, so I'm going to go more in depth on how to properly VOD review since I don't see a lot of people doing that. The importance of VOD reviewing is one of the most critical tools for improving in competitive. It allows you to analyze your gameplay, identify mistakes, and develop better decision making. However, to make the most of your VOD review sessions, not everyone knows what to do. I'm going to give you guys a couple steps to make your VOD reviewing as efficient as possible. Step 1 is to focus on the key moments. When VOD reviewing your games, you don't need to watch the entire game from start to finish. That's such a huge waste of time. Instead, focus on the moments where things went wrong, specifically your deaths. Start by looking at 2 to 3 minutes leading up to your death. This time frame is crucial because it often reveals the decisions or mistakes that put you in a bad position in the first place. By narrowing your focus, you save time and avoid getting overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information that's in a VOD review. Step 2 is to analyze the situation. What led to this situation? Did you miss position in zone? Get too greedy for a fight? Look for these. What were your better options at the time? Were there any better plays you could have made, such as retreating, repositioning, and other? Could this situation have been avoided entirely? For this, you have to look about 3 minutes before the actual engagement and see where you could have gone instead, especially if you weren't looking for a fight in the first place. Write all of your best ideas down and identify the best possible play, either by asking yourself or just by asking your friends what was the best possible play in that situation. And then read that to yourself every single time you start a new scrim. And that leads on to step 4, which is review your notes before your next session. After completing your VOD review, take a few minutes to read through your notes right before your next scrim match. This helps reinforce the lessons that you've learned. And since I know a lot of you guys struggle with just the memory of your mistakes, since I used to have a big problem with this, just reread before the games and it will keep that fresh in your mind. The last step is to keep it efficient. Limit your time for like 15 to 30 minutes per session. That's the most you should be VOD reviewing to avoid burnout. Prioritize quality over quantity. It's better to thoroughly analyze over one game instead of just skimming through a bunch of different games. And also make VOD reviewing the last thing you do when you hop off to avoid rushing through it, and that way you have more time to think about it when you get off. But yeah, that's how you efficiently VOD review. Anyways, guys, that is going to end the video for today. If you guys did enjoy, please hit that like and sub, and don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss a single video that I post. And of course, if you made it this far, comment tournament, just so I know who the real ones are in chat. Also, stay tuned for the new pro breakdown that I might be posting soon, and no long outros. I'll see you guys. Peace out.